Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the next class of Appreciating Prose. Today we are starting the next chapter, Pico Iyers in Praise of the Humble Comma. Today we will go for an introduction about Pico Iyer, and in the next class we will commence with our text. Let's get started.
Siddharth Pico Raghavan Iyer, born on 11th of February 1957, he is known as Pico Iyer. He is a British-born essayist and novelist, known for his travel writing. He is a journalist, memoirist, and his major works include Night in Kathmandu, Video Night in Kathmandu, The Lady and the Monk, Falling Off the Map, Some Lonely Places of the World, Abandon a Romance, Autumn Light, Season of Fire and Farewells, A Beginner's Guide to Japan, Observations and Provocations, and The Global Soul. His books have been translated into more than 20 languages. He is very fond of traveling. He is not ready to accept any particular place as his home. He loves traveling. He doesn't have a belongingness to any place. World is his home. He was born Siddharth Pico Raghavan Iyer in England as a son of Indian parents. Both of his parents grew up in India and they went to England for their education. His name is a combination of the Buddha's name Siddhartha and that of the Italian Renaissance philosopher Pico della Mirandola. And when he was 7 years, in 1964, his family moved to California in the United States. Iyer moved between schools and college in England and his parents' home in California. He has traveled widely to Paraguay, to Ethiopia, to North Korea, and his several works speak about his travel experiences. He is also a frequent speaker at literary festivals and the universities around the world. He delivered popular TED Talks in 2013, 14, 16, and 19. His debut work, Video Night in Kathmandu, and other reports from the not so far east. It is a collection of short essays based on travel in 10 Asian countries. He speaks about Hong Kong hippies, Burmese peasants, Balinese hustlers, Thai call girls, Philippine prostitutes, Tibetan monks, Chinese tour guides, Japanese baseball fans, Nepalese astrologers, Indian film directors. He was talking about different countries, people in different countries. And it is also, he shows the ambivalent attitudes of Asians they hold towards the West. He also sought to understand the American cultural influence on the Orient. I told you he was shuttling with his family between England and California. They had a family home in California. It was in Santa Barbara. But their home was burned in a wildfire in 1990. Pico Iyer had a strong liking towards travels, and he had a wandering attitude towards life, always a traveling attitude towards a life. He was traveling from place to place. He stayed there for some time, for a very short time, and they leave that place. I told you he was a travel writer. He's known for his travel writings especially. With a self-declared bird-like traveler's temperament, he doesn't cherish a sense of belongingness to any place. He's not ready or to accept a place as his home. He was shifting from one place to another. That is a very, very good way, right? He doesn't have felt a belongingness to any place. And he says, I am not rooted in a place. I think so much as in certain values and affiliations and friendships that I carry everywhere I go. My home is both invisible and portable. His house is portable in the sense that he can stay anywhere. He doesn't have a feeling of belongingness to any particular place. And he is a person who builds his writings build on his growing up in a combination of three cultures. He was born in England and he shifted to America in California, and his parents' roots are in India. So, all these affected him in his life, in his attitude towards life, and in his writings too. Travel is a major theme in most of his works, and he wrote about different places, different cultures from an outsider's perspective. He wrote stories about Bhutan, Nepal, Ethiopia, Cuba, Argentina, Japan, North Korea. And during a business trip from Hong Kong on a Tokyo stopover, he was enchanted by a Buddhist temple, the silence or the tranquility of a Buddhist temple that he happened to visit. In Japan, he visited a Buddhist temple and he took the decision to leave New York and move to Japan. He found it as more peaceful. And he also married a Japanese woman named Hiroko. And when he shifted from New York, the busy city, to Japan, he says that shifting from the bustling city of Manhattan in US to the sleepy old city of Nara in Japan, as if I have walked out of a cluttered warehouse into a simple bare room. He says that he felt that he moved to a simple bare room from a very messed up storeroom. We know in a storeroom what all things are there. From a very messed up storeroom, he moved to a simple bare room where there is only one painting, one wall painting hanging on the wall. That is bare room with a scroll on the wall. That is a painting that is hung on the wall. In Japan, Japanese hanging scroll used to display and exhibit paintings. He feels like that. He has moved from a very messed up storeroom to a single bare room. He feels so light, maybe we can say. And as another work, his Autumn Light, it is a sublime celebration of autumn. It is set in the idyllic upscale neighborhood in Nara, Japan's ancient capital. Autumn Light. Iyer has been based since 1992 in Nara, Japan, and he lived with his wife there. He is a novelist and a non-fiction writer, and he dealt with the subjects that ranging from Cuban Revolution to mysticism, from Graham Greene to other forgotten nations, and also he wrote about the globalism. Pico Iyer, and once he referred to himself as a global village in two legs. Why he's calling himself or referring himself like that, a global village in two legs? The whole culture of world on him. He is a mix of combination of different cultures. That's what he is saying. It's a combination, mixing. He is a mixture of several cultures because his parents are from India. Definitely, there is an Indian spirit. He was born in England. Definitely, up to 7, he was there. Definitely, that culture influenced him. Then he went to California. The American culture influenced him a lot. And then he went to Japan. He shifted to Japan, a really new culture, a global village on two legs, he refers himself. He celebrates the in between position he occupies as a result of embracing multiple identities. He embraced different identities. He once called himself a global village on two legs. It is very difficult for a person like Iyer, who constantly traveling and who shifted his home from different countries, home between different countries. It is very difficult to embrace the notion of home. World is his home. And he says that the country where people look like me is the one where I can't speak the language. The country where people sound like me is a place where I look highly alien. And the country where people live like me is the most foreign space of all. Why he says so? Because he's not a fully English person, fully Indian person, or fully American person. In India, he can't speak a word for Hindi. He doesn't know Hindi. He don't know Hindi. But when he is in England, he don't even look like an Englishman. In California and speak with their accent, it sounds so odd and incomprehensible to people. He says that he possesses multiple cultures, multiple identities. So, how many places and how many cultures that he is a mix of? He's mixed up with Indian, British, American, and Japanese culture. Mixture of 4 cultures, and he is a constant, frequent traveler also. He is a keen observer of different cultures. And in Video Night in Kathmandu, he speaks about the Eastern culture and Western culture. He speaks about different cultures in his works, and his works is also pervaded with a sense of foreignness he carries with him. That is a state of being alienness, or the outsider's perspective, or not belonging to that place. He maintains that wherever he goes. So he doesn't feel that it is his closest place. World is his home. He doesn't have a belongingness to any places. He keeps a sense of foreignness, of a sense of strangeness, of being different, like that. He celebrates the in between position he occupies as a result of embracing multiple identities. He doesn't proclaim that he belongs to this country or he belongs to this civilization. He keeps an in between position. Pico Iyer practices meditation regularly and he visits a Benedictine hermitage in California every year. Usually, that places would be a combination of solitude and natural beauty, and it would be a good place for meditation. Hermitage, it is where the hermit lives, or the people go there and live secluded from other people. And Benedictines, it is a group of monks, we can say, or a monastic religious order of the Christianity, and who follow Saint Benedict. And Pico Iyer visited the hermitage of this Benedictines in California, where he go and be in a state of meditation. And he has also delivered popular TED Talks. And in one of his talks, which is titled The Art of Stillness, He stresses the importance of solitude. He meditates, and he also stresses the importance of solitude. Why it is important to meditate? In triggering the beautiful thoughts on life and the self, to have a self reflection. Meditation is very much important. He also supports meditation. He stresses the importance of solitude in the talk art of stillness to trigger the most beautiful thoughts on life and the self. And he talks on various topics including religion, mysticism, revolutionary Cuba, Buddhist Kyoto, literature, globalism, sports, film. Mysticism is that of a spiritual belief where you get a connect, you can keep a connection with God through meditation, thinking that believing a direct connection can be made with God through meditation. And he speaks about that topic, mysticism, and he speaks about religion and Buddhist Kyoto. He speaks about that is, Kyoto was a place in Japan. It is considered as the cultural capital of Japan, and it is also a major tourist destination. And there you can see a lot of Buddhist temples, palaces, gardens, and certain palaces and temples are also collectively or listed collectively by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. He speaks about many Buddhist temples in Kyoto, and he speaks about literature, globalism, sports, film, and one of his favorite themes is the convergence of mysticism and globalism. Mysticism, that is keeping a connection with God through meditation. Globalism is that people, goods can cross national borders, that globalism understands the connections, the interconnections between countries, interconnections between of the modern world. And globalism, it is not implying universality, and it is also the word used to describe the global trends. And he discusses the dual possibilities of enrichment and alienation in a rapidly globalizing world. The globalizing world, he spoke about alienation and enrichment. He was seeking how to improve and enhance the quality of living, and he also spoke about the alienation of people in the modern world, in the globalizing world. And I told you he spoke about globalism through his works, and he is regarded as one of the most eloquent and incisive observer of the emerging global culture. He spoke about cross cultures, spoke about different cultures, different countries, cross cultures he spoke about. And through his writings, he gave travel reportage, and he also gave social criticism, and he put forward his philosophical thinking, and he always had a keen eye for odd juxtapositions, that odd comparisons he made to understand the similarities or differences. And Pico Iyer was also compared to other writers like Vikram Seth and Geeta Mehta, but he dismissed those comparisons. He says he was different. I am different, he says. I guess I'm more international. I told you he doesn't want to rooted on one particular culture. I'm more international because of the vast amounts of traveling I do. He's not belonging to a particular culture. He says that I'm not so much an Indian but an international traveler. He proclaims that he himself as an international traveler, a global product. So this is all about the introduction about Pico Iyer, and in the next class we will start his essay in praise of the humble coma. Thank you.